Good morning, my cheerful children. Today we will be doing a very cheerful story, a mythological story, or we can say it a regional story. And the name of the chapter is Maui's Kite. So repeat after me. What is the name of the story? Maui's Kite. You should know the pronunciation Maui. So Maui's Kite is all about a story which has been written by Thomas Anthony, and everybody calls him Tommy the Bowler. So interesting. So the beginning is very interesting. This author is a very specialized writer of children's story, and he was even awarded with the Children's Legacy Literature Award in 2011 for his lifetime contribution to American children literature. And the story opens in Hawaii. Have you heard of this word? Hawaii, it is an island. It is a beautiful island. Hawaii. I hope you remember this place. Where does the story opens? In Hawaii. So characters in this story are Maui, the main character. He is a little boy who is very inquisitive, very creative, and a lady who is an old woman who is called Keeper of the Winds. Who is a Keeper of the Winds? You must have heard the story Ali Baba and Charles Chor. So usme there was a magical mantra. What was it? Khul ja sim sim. So in this story also we have two mantras or two magical words जिसको हम बोल के we can call the air. Okay, do you think it can be true? But let's enjoy the story and we should think yes, it is true. So we have two characters in the story, the main leads, and I would like to tell you you must have seen gourd. I hope everybody knows what that vegetable is. It's like a घिया और कद्दू. ग्रीन कलर का होता है. Mama makes a vegetable which very few children like. So when it is opened, हम उसको कट करते हैं, उसको थोड़ा सा साइड पे स्लाइड करते हैं तो उसमें से एयर निकलती है. There were many kind of winds, and keeper of winds was that old lady. I hope you remember. So this is little mythological story. So let's start with the things. One morning, Maui decided that he wants to build a kite. It was speech some days back. So everybody flied the kites. So in the same very way, this boy named Maui thought I should make a kite. So it's very easy to make a kite. So the material required for the kite was a strong cloth which was given by his mother. A very strong and the largest piece of cloth was given by his mother, and there are some cross pieces. You must have seen it in the kite. I don't have to explain it much. Close your eyes and visualize how does a kite look. So they were made up of bamboos because Hawaii is an island with a lot of natural things. So the boy got the cross pieces from the bamboo tree, and he wanted a rope also जिसके साथ उसको kite fly करनी थी. He got it from the olona shrub. Olona shrub जो होता है उसकी जो bark होती है that is very strong. So he chose a very strong cloth, a bamboo for cross pieces, and olona shrub for the rope. So he made it a beautiful kite, a big one. It was a work of art. What do you mean by work of art? कि बहुत beautifully he made it. So that's why we call it work of art. So he thought, let's go to Keeper of the Winds. So she will give us a perfect wind where my kite will soar high. So he went along. He asked his friends to come along with him. So everybody went along with the Maui, and there were many people who left their work and they started looking at the children, and they too started parading with the children. Where were the children going with Maui? To the keeper of winds. And there she sat on the entrance of the cave. And Maui requested when he approached the cave, "O keeper of the winds, please bring Ipu Iki, the small gourd that holds the gentle breeze, and let us fly our kite." Then he requested the old woman कि please आप वो वाली wind लेके आओ, वो वाली हवा लेके आओ जो बहुत gently चलती है, आराम से चलती है, and our kite will fly high. The keeper was a wise old woman. She knew that the gentle wind of Ipu Iki would play kindly with the boy, and that wind will not do any nuisance. So she said, "All right, I'll be back." She went inside the cave and came back with the god, and she gently spoke a mantra. What was that mantra? "Oh wind, soft wind of hello, winds from the God of everlasting winds, come from Ipu Iki, O wind, soft wind of hello, come, gently come mildly." So when the lady, the old woman, said these lines, the lid of the gourd began to stir, and the keeper carefully opened it slowly, and the wind drifted out and tugged at the kite, and the kite soared high and high, and children really loved watching it. It was a new experience for them. But the keeper was a very wise lady, as I told you before. She told the children with a smile that enough for the day, children. The wind should not be taken for granted. What do you mean by taken for granted? We should not be taking the winds lightly. हमें मजे में नहीं लेना है, केयरलेस मैनर में उसको नहीं लेना है, हल्के में नहीं लेना है. The most popular words which you understand. They will respect you if you will respect them. It is a basic law of nature. अगर आप हवा को, wind को respect करोगे, then she will respect you back. And don't you think this happens with all the natural things? If we love nature, if we care for nature, she also protects us, and she also gives back. After a few moments of silence, Maui nodded and said, "Yes, O keeper of the winds, call your winds back to you." And then children went back to their places. They caught the kite back home. But Maui was not content. What do you mean by content? When children play, उनका कभी कभी मन नहीं भरता खेल के. So same was the case with Maui. Then he was like, he wanted to do more. He wanted his kite to fly higher and higher. Next day, Maui and his friends took the great kite and went back to Cave of Winds. वो वापस अगले दिन कहाँ गए? फिर से अपना गए कहाँ पे? केव के पास गए. ओ कीपर ऑफ विंड्स, ब्रिंग आउट इपू नुई. पहले उन्होंने कौन से विंड को बुलाया था? इपू इकी. एंड नाउ दे वांटेड टू कॉल इपू नुई, God of 4 great winds. The keeper said, "Don't you remember what I said to you? You must respect the winds, especially the 4 great winds. The wind of Ipu Iki were enough for you." So she tried to pacify the children. She tried to convince the children that जो विंड हमने कल यूज की थी अपनी काइट फ्लाई करने के लिए, इपू इकी, that was more than sufficient, that was enough for you, and this wind is not a very soft one. Ipu Nui is a very, very strong wind. But Maui was adamant that I'm much stronger than those winds. And he was a little nasty. Overconfident ho gaya. That was not good. And what did he do? He started chanting, "Oh, four great winds, mighty as the gods, wind from the god of everlasting winds, come from Ipu Nui. Strong winds, churning winds, hasten and come to me." From inside the cave came a mighty roar, and the keeper ran towards the entrance of the cave. But that was too late. जब chanting की, the wind, which wind? Tell me. Oh, great four winds heard it, and she came out before the old woman could stop that. And she swept the kite far out over the sea. She pushed her over and snatched the kite from the hands of Maui's friends. She did not wait. They will be handing it over. And she took the kite very, very high. And Maui was delighted. He laughed and he laughed that how far his kite had gone. And at the keeper, who was struggling vainly. Struggling vainly means trying her hard but without any success. To put the lid back. हमने कहाँ से wind निकल रही थी हमारी God में से. And she tried to fit the God again, the lid again, जो cover उसका था. But she could not do it because this wind was very, very strong. The kite went high as the cord was long, and then it tugged fiercely at the cord. The cord began to hum in the wind, and the kite disappeared into the darkening clouds, and the kite was gone. Thinking that he was in control, Maui called out, "Oh winds, mighty winds as the gods, return to Ipu Nui." But of course the winds were beyond his control. What did he think? He will chant the mantra and the winds would return to the god, and the keeper of winds will put the lid on. But it did not happen because this wind was not very gentle like Ipu Iki. I know it might confuse you. There were two kinds of winds, Ipu Iki and Ipu Nui. Nui was naughty. Fine? You can remember it like this. Thinking, now what should Maui do? He almost fell backwards. The kite sailed away over the mountains and he never saw the kite again. The winds continued to rage over the entire island. A heavy rain sent people scurrying in all the directions. What is scurrying? Running with the short steps. जब बारिश आती है तो सभी इधर उधर भागने लगते हैं अपने को बचाने के लिए in the same very way. But the winds were proved to be very stronger than Maui ever thought. Because Maui was overconfident. He was ज़्यादा strong heaven से, but वो strong नहीं था. At last, keeper of the winds pounced on Ipu Nui and took it back to the cave. She worked all through the night, gently coaxing the winds back into the god. और at last, keeper of the winds जो था, the old wise woman, उसने ही उनको वापस बुलाया. उसको थोड़ा सा coaxing क्या होता है? To persuade someone, to convince someone. धीरे धीरे अपनी God के अंदर वापस जाने के लिए. और उसके बाद storm came to end. But people were very unhappy with Maui because they knew he who brought the great storm. They started calling him by this name. They started knowing Maui by this name. And the friends of Maui were no more his friends and they started ignoring him. They never wanted to be with him because कोई बच्चा ज्यादा नॉटी होता है तो हमारे पेरेंट्स क्या कहते हैं, स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दिस चाइल्ड, नहीं तो तुम भी उसकी कंपनी में बिगड़ जाओगे. इन द सेम वेरी वे everybody started ignoring him. But of course, आपको लगता है माउई को अच्छा लगा होगा? No, he was sad, but he decided to soon make another kite. So it was a smaller kite than the first one. He flew it near his house when nobody saw him. He would tie the kite to a rock and study its movements in the sky. What he started doing? जब वो अपनी काइट को फ्लाई करता था तो विंड्स जिस भी डायरेक्शन में जाती थी, ही स्टार्टेड ऑब्जर्विंग दोज विंड्स, और उसको कैसे पता लगने लगा कि ये विंड की डायरेक्शन कौन सी है और कैसी है. देयर वाज अ पर्सन हु वाज गोइंग टू द फील्ड्स एंड Maui stopped him and he said, it will rain today, you better go home and come tomorrow for work in the fields. It will be a better day to work in the fields. खेत में काम करने का कल का दिन अच्छा होगा, आप वापस जाइए, because it's about to rain. And he said, please give me a break, because he never wanted to believe Maui. He frowned, उसने गंदा सा फेस बनाया and he started to fields. And what happened? तभी बारिश होने लग गई. Another day, Maui warned a group of women that their clothes would be blown away from the drying place because his kite told him that there would be storm that day. Later, they were out in the yards chasing their clothes which were blowing about in the storm. और अगले दिन जब उसने मना किया कुछ फीमेल्स को कि आप यहाँ पे कपड़े नहीं सुखाओ, पर वो नहीं माने तो उनके कपड़े सभी उड़ गए. People now started calling him teacher of the weather. पहले हम उसको किस नाम से जानने लग गए थे सबके सब? He who brought the great storm. जो लड़का जो तूफान लाया था. और अब उसको किस नाम से जाना जा रहा था? Teacher of the weather, who forecasts about the weather. Even the keeper of winds was no longer shunned him. तो जो अपना keeper of winds थी, the lady, अभी उसको shunned मैंने क्या होता है? इग्नोर नहीं करती थी, उसको बुरा मुंह बना के और उसको अपने से दूर नहीं करती थी. And Maui had learned his lesson. Never again did he call for the winds of Ipuiki or Ipunui. उसने क्या किया? उसको समझ आ गया कि he should never call the winds. He should respect the nature. So that was the story about this boy who used to think that he is very smart and he was very artistic also. Fine. I hope you like this story and I want you to read this chapter again, and we will be pronouncing few difficult words together in the Zoom class also. And you don't have to write section B and C in your notebooks. B section is deleted and it's not included, and C has to be written in the book only. So you have to write only 5 questions of section A. So before ending my video, I would like you to pronounce few words with me. Maui, tame, cross pieces, Olona shrub, paraded, approached, God, everlasting, drifted, soared, taken for granted, churning, hasten, struggling vainly, ragged, scurrying, coaxing, scowled. And that was all. See you in your class on Wednesday. Love you. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.